Welcome back to the Now Morning Show. Now, crime continues to plague communities across the country, and many have seen the benefits of using neighborhood crime watch groups to dissuade bandits from wreaking havoc on their communities. And so this morning we are joined by Mr. Darrin Carmichael, who is the security consultant, program coordinator of Neighborhood Crime Watch, and a director of Crime Stoppers TT. And for the last 23 years, he has been assisting communities across the country establish and maintain neighborhood crime watch programs. And he joins us this morning to talk more about it. Mr. Carmichael, good morning.
Good morning, Kimberly. Morning.
Thank you so much for joining us.
My pleasure to be here.
Neighborhood crime watch groups. Let's get into that. What can be considered a neighborhood crime watch group?
Well, all across the country, there are groups of persons who have recognized, okay, crime is becoming more and more a problem in the area, and they know that there's a source, Neighborhood Crime Watch. All right, so under the auspices of the Trinidad and Tobago Chamber of Commerce, we help communities across the country help set up, establish your holy hands through the process, generally to keep groups active, all towards reducing crime or the possibility of crime in the area.
Yeah. So this is something that you have to register with the TT Chamber?
Well, you can contact the Chamber, the TT Chamber, or Crime Stoppers website, or directly through myself, and we will come into the area, have an initial meeting, talk to you about what you do, and then we invite you to bring all the members of the community on board. So we have a meeting generally where we will talk about what is Neighborhood Watch, how it works, what you can play or the role you can play. We also speak about building resilience to crime. So a lot of that speaks to looking at your home, doors, locks, windows, how you operate, what we call situational awareness. Everything to help make you less of a target to the potential criminal.
Is there a fee to join a registered
Totally
group?
free.
Totally free.
Absolutely free. Yeah.
And I'm asking Mr. Carmichael because I'm wondering what is the benefit to really joining the organization? Because some people may be thinking, okay, cool, I live in this community, my neighbors, and I have a WhatsApp group. We have the lady on the corner who sees when a strange car passes by, she alerts everybody what's going on. And so what is the benefit from moving from that space into registering with NCW?
What happens is, let's back up a little bit. Once you're in a community, but we recognize that some people live in there for 20 years and they really don't know the neighbors around them. People moving, their renters, that type of thing. So what Neighborhood Watch does, it focuses on us, one, establishing or knowing who the people are in your community. And once we know who they are, we then tap into how do I contact you, because a big part of this is being proactive. So if you were to spot a suspicious vehicle or suspicious person, the whole idea is how can I get this information to everyone in the community so you can pull your children inside, lock your doors, take precautions, that type of thing. So Neighborhood Watch helps you focus on all those things. We develop street captains so they can then canvass and get information on persons and so on. But more importantly, that initial meeting where we sit and we discuss all the things. We look at the neighborhood, we look at the risk factors, we look at some of the things like lighting and potential risk from drains and rivers and broken fences and so on. So there's a whole host of things that come together. So registering is basically just, it's part of the course. We basically just want you to come, meet with us, have that initial conversation. A big part of Neighborhood Watch is also the partnership with the police, because we could sit hands on, saying kumbaya all we want, unless the police responds if you have an issue, unless the police is part of it, and the police give guidance and direction and support, particularly to these groups. All right, so the police being in the meetings as well is a big part of what we do.
Yeah. In terms of signals, because I understand there's also an air horn that is used as well. Tell us about that.
Well, what it is over the years we recognize that people have become immune to sirens. Your siren goes off, whether it's your car alarm or your home alarm. We hear it, we say somebody alarm going off again. That's basically the reaction. What has happened over time is that the air horn, being a distinct sound that is initiated, has become more probably the staple around all over the country right now. So persons, there's a drill, there's a process, they do rehearsals, that type of thing. So we understand that the air horn acts as a repeater. So something happens at your end, you say discharge 3 blasts, and of course persons hearing it would blow theirs as well. So what happens in essence is there's a whole chorus of air horns going off. And of course, when you trigger the air horns, you trigger your sirens, your car alarms, your dogs start barking, turn on lights. And that activity wakes up the entire community, whether it's 2 o'clock in the morning or whatever time it is. The bandit on the other end, of course, to him, the chance of being caught has now come from probably 0 to 100 because people look out, they observe, they pay attention. The car that might be parked around the corner is now picked up on camera or picked up on video. It's shared in the chat group, which is an important factor as well. And the police want to be part of the neighborhood chat groups. So they're on all the emergency chats and so on. So in real time, literally, the police get that information as well. And sometimes even when the chat respond. So you find that the Neighborhood Watch has created or focused on, listen, how can we be an integral part of crime, well, not crime fighting, but crime prevention.
At least at the initial phase of
exactly,
it.
because what happens is the community, they provide what I call human intelligence. They know the streets, they know the areas, they know who comes, who goes, who belongs. The police come into the area, but they don't know, they can't be everywhere at once. So if we could develop that kind of relationship among the community, what they play an integral role. And they say, if you see something, say something.
Yes.
All right? So that plays a big part in helping to reduce crime. It plays a big part in deterring criminals from coming into the areas.
Mr. Carmichael, you mentioned earlier the CCTV cameras. Is it a mandate that for me to be in this community watch group, I have to have the cameras around my house?
Well, what we say is, there are a lot of places where there's the retired person's home, so somebody's in the community. But there are a lot of communities I've visited, and if you look on your screen now, you realize that there's a sign as well, right? So there are a lot of communities that we visit where persons out to work, 8 to 4. And no one's at home.
Yeah.
So what happens, we tell you, listen, it's important to at least have cameras or an alarm system set up because that provides you with real-time information if somebody were to breach. What we encourage people to do as well is extend cameras, not just to pick up around your home, but to extend what we call road-facing cameras so they can actually get the number plates of vehicles, persons who are actually passing on the pavements and so on. And that information, together with the police, national network of cameras, it really provides footage within the inner streets, within the inner townships and so on, which is very critical in terms of helping to find out who done it, so to speak.
Mr. Carmichael, in your years of experience as a consultant, program coordinator, that sort of thing, do you think there are particular areas that are most hardly hit by crime?
Well, I would have thought that, until we started to realize that they're going into the gated communities, they're accessing people steal cars that blend in, right? So you find that cars fit into almost every community now, the high end or the middle or the low income. And therefore, all persons across the country, there's no strata that is spared, including businesses. So Neighborhood Watch picks up not only the businesses within the community, you've got something called Business Watch as well, which is the same concept, right? So you have we pick up the persons in the communities, the mom and pop shops, everybody plays an integral role in looking out for each other. Neighborhood Watch brings you back to the original thing of neighbor loving neighbor, neighbor looking after neighbor, neighbor caring. A lot of people build high walls, barbed wire fence, so on, and they keep to themselves, right? We try to bring forward you need to get to know your neighbors, you need to have, so there's also a social component in terms of meet and greets and welcoming people and so on. People tend to alienate renters. They think of homeowners only. But think about it, the renters are eyes and ears as well. And if you have dead spots, right, then of course it becomes a problem. The only people we leave out is, we look at law-abiding people.
Of course.
So it's only the criminal elements who are embedded within the communities. They're left out. They understand why they're not.
But that's a very important point to make, Mr. Carmichael. There are criminal elements living in the community. And so how are you going to shut them out from the meetings that you're having? Well, how are you going to ensure that they stay out of the WhatsApp groups?
The captains and the coordinators who live there, they know who
the negative ones are.
And trust me, the criminals know exactly why they're not on the Neighborhood Watch chat, and they're okay with it.
But how do we get rid of them? They're living in the communities.
Okay, what you want to talk about getting rid of them now, then you're going into the realm of Crime Stoppers. So I'm one of the founding directors of Crime Stoppers, 800 Tips. And Crime Stoppers is an anonymous hotline where you can give information without being known. We don't need to know who you are and so on. So anonymously, you can call 800 Tips and call in anybody you want. Right? You get an opportunity to get a reward. You pay up to $10,000 in cash rewards. All right, it's a safe, it's anonymous. Knock wood, in the 24 plus years we've been in existence, no one's identity has ever been compromised.
Well, that's the thing, Mr. Carmichael, I was just about to address, because there's an understanding that Crime Stoppers is not very safe or confidential. Some people have argued, and I mean, you are saying that you've never had the instance, but some people have argued that, you know, the police know somebody who may have called in a tip, and, you know, that person may have been threatened.
Yeah.
I mean, can you guarantee right here and now that it's completely 100% safe?
Absolutely 100% safe, right? Because really, when you call in 800 tips, the call takers don't ask who you are, where you live.
And it can't be traced.
Can't be traced. There's no caller ID, no call tracing on the lines. All right? We tell you call back within 21 days, during which time we are then able to take the tip and we share it with the senior superintendent who is assigned to the program. Okay, so Crime Stoppers is not the police. It's an anonymous, it's a private body, right, made up of a board of directors. All right? So we get the tip, we call it into to the police, they investigate, do surveillance, whatever they need to do to make sure that the tip is actionable.
Right.
And once they get success, meaning they find the guns, the drugs, the weapons, whatever it might be, we are then told and we assess the reward amount based on what the value of the tip was. When you call back, we tell you, okay, your tip is successful, which branch of Scotiabank do you want to collect it? And simply you go to Scotiabank, the one you choose, and you ask the operations manager, and simply give the tip number that we provided you with. No questions, no IDs, nothing, and you get an envelope with
And
5,000,
nobody has been
10,000.
traced up to now.
Well,
unless
you tell your girlfriend or your boyfriend, you call Crime Stoppers, which we discourage you to do.
Yes, of
you
course.
know, but nobody's identity has been traced because it works.
It's safe and
We
reliable.
also have an online portal and an app called P3 that can also be used, and of course, a lot of engineering and safety has gone into keeping that confidential as well.
So you're saying that in addition to the 800 tips, you can also
you can use the online
Use the
platform,
app, yes.
crimestopperstt.com. There's a web tip portal, and there's an app called P3. That the number 3.
The number 3.
Right?
Mr.
All
Carmichael,
safe and reliable.
Is there a way you can trace the amount that has been paid out thus far?
We normally don't disclose that, but what I could tell you is that, you know, people, a lot of people call Crime Stoppers because it's the right thing to do.
Not necessarily about
Not
the money,
necessarily to
about
get the money and the reward. Yes. There's a percentage that we know call in and they get the rewards and so on, and it's been done safely. We've tested it as well to make sure that it works the way it should.
Yes.
All right. But rewards have been paid out. What I can tell you is that there's been $26 million worth of stolen property recovered, upwards of $965 million worth of narcotics recovered. Right? And that is through tips coming into the program. Think about that for a little bit, the kind of numbers and so on. And we have a lot of firearms and ammunition and a whole host of things. And this is information the police would not otherwise have had it not been for somebody anonymously there calling the program and saying what they know. So it's a very, very valuable tool. And of course, building the communities that we do with the partnership with the police, building the kind of resilience that we hope to do, it hopefully will give some kind of ease to the communities. You know, the fear of crime is real. I've had an increase from 10 to 12 meetings a month to somewhere close to 24 meetings a month from January this year. So it kind of tells you that people are concerned and they see the program, this Neighborhood Watch Crime initiative, as being probably the answer to a lot of things that they've been plagued with.
My final question to you, Mr. Carmichael, how can we prevent these neighborhood crime watch groups from becoming vigilante groups and taking that sort of justice into their own hands?
That's an excellent question, right? Because what we found is that, very rarely, once we go through the program, you understand that it's not about being vigilante. It's about, we drop the E, it's about being vigilant,
right,
not being vigilante.
Yes.
Right? And of course, everything that we speaks about how do you keep yourself safe and how do you prevent crime and ward off these bandits from the safety of your home. So home invasions are prevalent now. We tell you what you can do to help prevent that, about being observant and so on. Nothing speaks to picking up a baseball bat and riding for anyone. As a partner in the watch, that's the job of the police.
Yeah.
And it's made very, very clear. So we don't have that taking place. In fact, between the cameras and all the other systems that we design, even the air horn, all of that is from the safety of your home. So you could watch your streets, you can watch the cameras and so on. You can share information rapidly in real time. Suspicious vehicle, photograph, in the chat.
And with the
Do you
police
know this
officer being
vehicle?
there, they as well can jump
That's
in as
correct.
well.
That's
And
correct.
Mr. Carmichael, before you go, if we need to reach out to NCW, how can we?
Okay, so you can contact this number 312-2281. The TT Chambers website, there's a link as well that you can use. There's an email address, again, you can get it from the website. It's neighborhoodwatch@chamber.org.tt. Or you can to the Secretariat of the Crime Stoppers, which is on the website, crimestopperstt.com. There's a whole page with information and so on that you can get on Neighborhood Watch as well. So we really encourage persons to do that. And of course, every police station will tell you how to get in touch with the program as well. All right?
Mr. Carmichael, a pleasure. Thank you so much for coming in
Certainly,
and joining
my
us this
pleasure.
morning, and continue the good work that you and your team are
Thank you
doing.
for having me. And to all the people who partake in Neighborhood Watch out there, keep doing what you're doing. We are saving this country one community at a time.
One community at a time.
Thank you.
That was Mr. Darrin Carmichael, of course, a security consultant, program coordinator of the Neighborhood Crime Watch, and one of the directors of Crime Stoppers TT, just sharing how you can form a part of your neighborhood community watch group. Remember that number to call, 312-2281. You're on the Now Morning Show. We're going to take a break and be right back. Stay with us.
How the policeman going to make a case? And